And the 19, where does it come from? It's also...
We have now a vertical of vineyard Reichestal, or Rich Valley. This is the vineyard which is very close to the confluence of the Main and the Rhine River. Maybe direct line would be 900 meters, something like that. And so this wine has the microclimate of two rivers, so it's a lot of sun reflection, a lot of captured water heat. In addition to that, it's just planted in the middle slope, so it's always a little bit windy, so the moisture is always blown out.
Okay.
And with a great ripeness potential, and and here you have it from 2019 until 2010. And 2010 was, no, I have to turn it around. 2010 has won the trophy for the best German Pinot Noir after 10 years.
Wow. Can you make a video here, please?
I did the whole time. I recorded.
But just to record the labels. It's something we can do every day, probably.
I had yesterday. I had also some sommeliers.
Okay.
And they had a very serious interest into the Pinot Noirs, and so we did that very cool.
Thank you. And if we just look at the labels, because we see that some of them changed over the time, right? So what was the consideration behind that? Because some of them are golden and some of them...
that was my wife. She wanted to make another label. We had 15. I have to turn that around as well. So we had... and after 2012, it's not anymore known as erstes Gewächs. It's known as a grape growth, großes Gewächs. And now we think to make it a little bit more obvious, maybe it's very practical. We have the golden capsule and we have the golden bottom in the connection to point out that these ones are our very best ones.
Wow, I'm actually at 16 now. I'm going from 19, it's getting better.
Of course.
15 was also quite hot, right?
Yeah. 16 was moderate. 14 was very cool.
But the nose of 15 is... It's really in between the black and the red foods, but really on the ripe side. This is really what's animating for me. I really rarely use this one, but
I'm also a great fan of 2016.
Ooh. How was 16?
16 was 16. It was very wet springtime. Great difficulties during flowering because it was so rainy. Great danger of mildew during flowering. Extremely dangerous. If you have missed the right day, this was a Friday to spray, the whole yield was gone. And fortunately, we do have very busy and very we have a wonderful team which is behind the winery, and we sprayed from the early morning until midnight, and so we because otherwise it would have been too wet to spray, because if a leaf is wet it doesn't make any sense, and the mildew has developed like crazy. in
And
2016.
spraying means what? What do you spray with this?
We, instead of copper, we are spraying phosphoric acid.
Wow, 14. Wow, 14, it gets a lot more tertiary aromas. So this really, it gets more this fine leathery aromas and fine this gamey notes. This is where it starts for me, the 14, but it's still really fresh. Wow. What was the oldest wine that you had maybe Pinot Noir?
There must be a vintage 99 around. We have opened yesterday. Maybe somebody decided too good. Annika, would you please go for the 99? Maybe this is in the fridge over there.
Wow.
Or maybe in that fridge. Please take a few at first in that fridge. 99 Rheingau style.
You should try this. I also had not really a cooperation, but I changed some clothes with Salto with the glass company. Why did you?
Mr. Hinterladen.
Ganz genau, yeah. And but I also seen some Riedel boxes. What do you would say that it's the difference, or do you see any difference? Maybe also out of their code.
I think for that we have to make really a comparison between Riedel and Salto with the Pinot Noir classes. What I didn't do so far. And we had 2 online tastings with Riedel. This is a reason why we have Riedel classes. Why we do have Riedel classes. But for our both companies are really very good. Maybe the disadvantage of Salto is we are easily to break. So it's very difficult. It's a wonderful glass. It's very elegant. The Riedel glass are a little bit stronger.
But this is just the 14 is the smell is. How was 14? Do you remember?
Yes, of course. We had November during August. It was so cold and so wet, and really, and also a heavy and a very rainy September and October as well, and it was I would say very cool here. 13 as well was also very cool. And the next wine, 2012, was also very similar to 2016, moderate.
And how would you say these vintages? So if you have like maybe a colder vintage, this would age maybe well or better than a warmer, or
I wouldn't say that. This is a matter of the manufacturing. So of course there's a big influence by the year, but there's also influence by human beings.
Wow. At 12, do I smell some light VA notes? Could be, right?
Yeah.
So what do you usually, can you make maybe a local dish with Rheingau Pinot Noirs with that?
Deer from the Rheingau with sehr gut.
Wow.
So yeah.
1999.
97 is also very good. 93 is super. But we had in the 90s we had a bigger variation of quality. But with the increase of wisdom and of energy and of working more and more precisely, because Pinot Noir is in comparison to Riesling a very
it's a bitch.
yes. It's can be also a witch.
Yeah, true. Yeah, when it's family, it's rich. Can I try the tan as well?
Yeah, of course. This one was, oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
2010 was number one in a competition in Berlin. After 10 years, it was number one.
Wow. What is it? I know you're a vegetarian, but it's fine. Because it has a lot of meaty notes for me. It's more this desiccated red meat character that goes into it. It's a really, and also more spice, I would say, in the tan.
All wines are region because we are working with a lot of our transport system works on vibration. And so with the vibration, you're getting rid of all the insects. Everything is away.
Okay.
So no stressed juice of the insects in the wine. So there's no need of fining.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we try it, please. Wow. So, because Rheingau is 90% of the people think of Riesling,
Yeah.
I would say. So, why would you say that Spätburgunder Pinot Noir have found its place in the Rheingau?
There are evidences for that. One evidence is during the Middle Ages we had an average temperature which was 1 degree higher than today. Higher. So during the Middle Ages you could plant wines in the Berlin area. It has changed after after the 30-year war, after 1648, 1650. We had the so-called Little Ice Time between 1650 and 1850. And Pinot Noir was being brought by monks coming from Burgundy to the Rheingau because they were coming from the monastery Citeaux, Bernard de Clairvaux. This was the big guy, and he has established the monastery Eberbach. And obviously in the briefcase use case there was some Pinot Noir, and they have planted that in Assmanshausen. Assmanshausen is an island of Pinot Noir. They have roughly 100 hectares. Before nobody talks about Pinot Noir, and after nobody talks about Pinot Noir. But in Assmanshausen they talk only about Pinot Noir. Because Assmanshausen is very special, very steep slopes, 70%. And the secret is red slate, 0.1. And the next point is everybody around is telling Pinot Noir likes to have a cool climate, but hot day temperatures and cool morning hours and cool evening hours. And this is the perfect climate because you have very steep slopes, so we are receiving a lot of sunshine, south and southwest facing. But on the other side of the Rhine River, there is a hillside called Hunsrück, and they are offering shadow. So you're getting the morning sun, also in the summertime you're getting the morning sun at 8:30, 8:45. Until that it's cool, you can have, certainly you need a sweater. But after that, it's getting extremely hot. And in the evening, it's just turned around. And this is the point why Pinot Noir grows so well there in Assmanshausen. But it's a lot of work. Your work here, Anniko was also there, and if you're working in a 60-65% steep slope, it's not so easy.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the gym afterwards.
If you're strong enough, you can.
What's beautiful, that was the tan, right? Wow. Do you have a lot of old vintages to be kept or to be sold, maybe?
Yeah, we have also some older vintages, and this is 99. Because
Wow, it's a lot more garlicky. I could really differentiate it. So it's a 21-year-old Pinot Noir from Rheingau. Wow, a very, very clear color. I could easily see. Now they come in this licorice kind of characters and very this other kind of vinegary notes almost. And very.
So this 99 was the first 5 years. It was more or less undrinkable, but it has this really great density of not chaptalized 13.5 alcohol, and has a it stands. It's very earthy.
It is really, and really earthy. So the fruit just got desiccated and flummy, and it's really flummy.
Like Michael
but balsamico kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you have the balsamico, not the cheap stuff that you get in the Aldi, but you really see some barracks. Wow, really. But it's 21 years old, and that really that's from the same single vineyard.
It's from the same plants. Everything is just from the same plants.
Okay, and okay, so I really encourage people to buy the 90s and put on the side for 20 years.
Yeah, but I think the younger vintages starting from 2015, 2016, they will easier to achieve, and they will have the same time to live.
But you said you don't stand the Pinot Noirs, right?
I do not distant the Chardonnay.
Okay.
We are doing with Pinot Noir very carefully distemming.
Distemming.
Yeah, this is very important.
Okay.
Because I do not want to have stems in there, and also our destemming machine is working on vibration.
Okay.
And this is confirming that we have, I would say, less than 1% little stems in there, and this will be selected out as well.
Wow. Yeah. So that really showed me this vertical, how a Rheingau Pinot Noir could age and should age. Wow, that's really. That was an experience. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, mine too. Really, thank you very much. And how would you say that these wines could further age, like a 1999?
They will be stable. They have enough tannins, enough soft tannins, they have enough structure. This wine is stable in how it tastes. The last 5 years, 6 years. Last year, also during summer, I had a visitor from Norway. He is the boss of the biggest shop from Wien Monopolet in Oslo. And I opened for his daughter, and for him I opened the 99. And then he said, this is the very best Pinot Noir he ever had. Head and shoulders above them all. Okay.
Yeah, it's really, and then, I've tasted a lot of German Spätburguners, so mostly from the south, to be honest, from Baden and Württemberg. And that was more fruit forward, but that's, to be honest, it's more the Côte de Nuit style for me. It's really more in the earthiness and more in the, this one. Okay. More in the earthiness and more in the animating kind of masculine style. But all the compliments are because it's still fresh. So the 1999, it's still, you have the present acidity, you have the tannins, so it's beautiful. Do you also drink more Burgundies? Maybe if you want to.
Yeah, I like them both. I think good Burgundies is easier to choose and to buy than good Bordeaux. I think the Bordeaux is overstretched, or this is not the size of my pocket.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, I have purchased 89 Embryon for 120 mark, against for 60 euros.
Okay.
Okay, you know how 89 Embryon would cost today.
Sure.
And but to pay for a bottle of Bordeaux 1500 euros, I think this is, for that we have to invest too much money in our own winery.
Yeah. But it's really beautiful. Thank you for this one, really. And I would have a final question.
Of course.
If you still have the time and the patience. What we're gonna talk about in 5 or 10 years?
In wines, varieties, quality.
Everything.
Yeah. Oh,
When I come here, not if, when I come here back, what we're gonna talk about in 5 and 10 years? Maybe?
We will talk about again ageability. We will talk about more extremes, because also Corona will divide the world a little bit into the ups and the downs, and we will talk about the consumption of wine, because with demography we will have less people in the age where they can drink wine.
Yeah.
We will have more young people who are, I guess, will be much more into the spirits and mixed drinks or whatever, cocktails, and we will have sorrows about transporting single vineyard wines, because it's too complicated.
Yeah.
People are stressed more and more in their business life that they do not want to study the single vineyards. They do not. What is Bon Mar and what is Alux Coton?
Yeah.
I think what is Reichenstein and what is Höllenberg. I think people, we will have, I'm afraid of it, that people will have more attention to wines which will be a mark, a trademark. So Woodbridge and things like that, maybe. But the single vineyard vinification, what we do, is the gap into the market, and we have to point that out with 200% consequence when we will be still in the market. Because if you imagine that a Roumier is now higher paid in Moscow than Romani Conti. So with Georges Roumier, he has pointed that out, because he was very strict in his work, he has quality, and then you will get something. But the volume will be something else. Maybe we will have a chance that German Pinot Noir is a hidden secret. Like for you came or Riesling.
Yeah.
Of course, you have tasted the Rieslings. I could show you also a vertical of Riesling.
Yeah.
But I wanted to surprise you a little bit. Even though we can do Hochheim Höllen in the same quality. So down to 90.
And in terms of climate change, would you say that it will impact our business?
There's a lot. Many people talk about, we have to change the varieties. We have to move away from Pinot Noir and from Riesling. I think this is not my opinion. Why? My father would have been very, very happy if vintages like 47, 49, 53 and 59 would have came in a row. He had, of course, he had 53, wonderful, but he had 54, disaster. Think about the final soccer championship in Bern, Hungary, against
noticed.
Nando hit the goodie and whoever, and it was raining like crazy. 55, very cold. 56, the runner was frozen. 57, also very cold. 58 in addition, also very cold. And then came 59. So we had 5 vintages in a row. Nobody would drink that today. The only reason why I can imagine that those wines have been drunk is that the European community was not so open like today. So the imports of Italy and France and so on were not existent in that percentage. And now with that perfect market, but you know what is going on in South Africa, what is going on the Loire, what is going on in Piedmont, what is going on wherever. And Germany is the biggest import market in the world. So this global warming has helped Riesling to get ripe every year. With an acid, with enough acid, or acid in moderation. So what we should do, we should be very happy about the situation that Riesling is getting riper, but we have to adjust on the circumstances. That means we have to strengthen the skin of the berries. Hey, how do you do that? Not genetically. This would afford too much time. But what we do is this is also being shown in the industry. We have now leaf stripping machines like crazy. This is a big deal, leaf stripping machines, because you're taking away the leaves after flowering, and the skin is getting stronger and harder against the sunshine. This is one thing which is very important, and we have to, of course, we have to harvest and at the right time, and we have to select. But if we would move away from Riesling, or if we would move away to other vineyards, much to the north and whatever, I think if you have a vineyard in the right circumstances, if you have the vineyard in the right correlation between animals, plants, and the plant of wine, therefore that you need to have your lifetime. So we have to, I think it's easier to adjust on the soil what we have, on the sites what we have, to make it even better than to move anywhere else. And for Riesling it's now perfect because we are now able to have Riesling ripe in out of 10 years 8 times. 2013 to 2014, very cool. 2017 as well, cool. Nobody is memorizing that. Why? Because the last 2 years were very hot. People do not know how the years before were. 2010 we had the eruption of Eyjafjallajökull on Iceland. The flower, it was cool because the fog, it was 90% silicate. Was reflecting the sunshine. It was a bad flowering, a cold year. We had a little crop and the crop was bad. The same we had in 1980 when the Mount St. Helens in the state of Washington erupted. The same thing. So we have to stay on the ground, do our work, be carefully with a great respect. Some contact to happen, that's good.
And if I may ask a controversial question. Would you also maybe go into, because you talk a lot about nature, and you also go maybe in the direction of biodynamic farming in the future?
We have a heroism of being biodynamic. Nobody is asking behind that, because everybody accepts this is wonderful, these are the heroes. They are not. Why they are not? Because they are using copper. This is a very old story. The story is 30 years old. in France, there are so many copper mines. And what do we want to do? We want to sell copper. And for example, it is also this is not a battle, this is a war between the south and the north.
Yeah.
In the south, where it's so dry, you are allowed to pay 6 kilo copper per hectare in a dry area. And in a very humid area, like Germany and Austria, where you have a lot of rainfall during the vegetation period, you have 3 kilos allowed. Hey! What the hell is this for? And over 600 ppm per kilogram soil, nothing is growing again. So for me, they are not the heroes. This is, you say democracy, this is wonderful, but mafia is even better. You have to think twice, you have to watch behind. I think, why is it allowed to spray a heavy metal? A heavy metal which is only protecting the plant on the place where the copper is sprayed on. Phosphoric acid will be transported through the whole veins.
Yeah, that's right.
And is protecting the plant from the inside. And in addition to that, copper is easily washed off of the leaves. Easily. So, and biodynamic, these are the heroes. I think this is a big lie. Excuse me. This is a big lie.
Well, Mr. Künstler, thank you very much for this wonderful.
Excuse me, this is I'm telling I'm very honest.
Please, that's what all this interview about. So thank you very much.